Bhajante Imam Varta. Person who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, whose sinful actions are completely eradicated and who are freed from the duality of the delusions, engages themselves in my service and determination. Unless one is freed from all sinful reactions, one cannot be promoted to the platform of devotional service. As we are in Bhagavad Gita 8.5, it is stated, Antakale Yamam. Yes. अंतकाले च माम एवं समरम मुक्त कलेवरम यह प्रजति तामद भावम यति नस्ते समस्या. If one remembers Krishna, Narayana at the time of death, one is certainly eligible to return to immediately home, back to God. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Krishna, thank you very much, Prabhu. Now, very interesting point here. Now let's go back to verse number 8 of this chapter. Etanaiva hya aghonosya kritam syad aganishkritam yada narayana iti jagad chatur aksharam. So in the 8th verse, the Vishnu Duta is saying, even previously while chanting, while eating, and at other times, this Ajamil would call his son saying, "My dear Narayan, please come here." Although calling the name of his son, he nevertheless uttered the 4 syllables Narayana. Simply by chanting the name of Narayan in this way, he sufficiently atoned for the sinful reactions of millions of lives. Now, what are they saying? At the time of death, this Ajamil helplessly and very loudly chanted the holy name of the Lord Narayan. That chanting alone has already freed him from the reactions of all sinful life. Therefore, O servants of Yamaraj, do not try to take him to your master for punishment in hellish conditions. Now you see, there was this question that, Yamraj is as good as Paramatma. In fact, like we saw that he practically collaborates with Paramatma in getting the information about the lives of various living entities. So how could he not understand that this Ajamil was freed from sinful reactions? So point is like this, that we do not know how many sinful actions one has committed. He was chanting the names of Narayan. He was burning out millions of lives of billions of reactions from millions of past lives. Now, in the last stage, prana prayana samaye kaphavata pittau kantavarodhanam smaranam kutaste. So, which is the last stage of life, which is the most helpless stage of life. At that stage, he helplessly cried out the name of Narayan. Even though not intending to call the Lord, he still cried out the name nevertheless. Now, another point is one cannot chant. The verse here, Yeshanto antagatam papam. Jnanam jananam punya karmanam te dvanda moha nirmukta bhajante mam jadavrita. Actually, one cannot chant the holy name of the Lord unless one has some pious credits. For example, in India, if you go to villages or cities also, you can find people named Ram, Krishna, these kind of names. So these are coming from past pious activities. So even though they are not transcendental at this stage, even though they are not certainly devotional, some pious credits have led them to a position where they at least can recite the names of the Lord. It's very difficult to chant the holy names. Like, for example, if you go to countries like China, Japan, or you come to the West even, pronunciation of the word Krishna or Rama is very difficult. People find it very difficult to pronounce. So, this is because of lack of piety. So, these pious activities have led him to a position where he can at least recite the name of the Lord. This recitation of the name of Lord is further adding to his pious credits, burning out his sinful reactions, but it is not transcendental, as we are going to see further in this chapter. So he has remembered Lord Krishna at the time of death. He did not chant the name in full devotion. So he did not get prema bhakti, but he certainly attained liberation. Hare Krishna. Yes, any questions or comments?
Beautiful. Great solace.
Hari Hari. Yes. Yes. So then we continue. Text 14. Sanketyam parihasyam va
Sanketyam parihasyam va
tobham helanam eva va
तो हम बेलन में
एवं
वैकुंठ नाम ग्रहणम
वैकुंठ नाम ग्रहण
ग्रहणम
अशेषाग हरम विदु.
विधु.
Yes. Okay, this one. One who chants the holy name of the Lord is immediately freed from the reactions of unlimited sins, even if he chants indirectly to indicate something else, jokingly, for musical entertainment, or even neglectfully. This is accepted by all the learned scholars of the scriptures. Hmm. Now, one point that we have to understand, this is Srimad Bhagavatam. We're now talking about purification from sinful reactions. Here, if you see, we have to see how precisely the words are used, the economy of the words. So, is one who chants the holy name of the Lord is immediately freed from the reactions of unlimited sins, even if he chants indirectly, jokingly, for entertainment, or neglectfully. So, what is missing here?
Love of
Is there
God.
something?
Oh, sorry. Sorry, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's all right.
No, I was
Yeah.
saying when you said what's missing here is love of Godhead. You can't get that by just chanting this way without conviction to God.
Yes. बहु
devotion.
जन्म जदि करे श्रवण कीर्तन तभु तना पावे कृष्ण पदे प्रेम धन. One may keep on chanting. One will remain free. One will remain free from sins, but one will not attain the lotus feet of Krishna. Actually, Bhakti Vinod Thakur qualifies this sentence still further, that if one then, one is chanting and one becomes free from sinful reactions, one keeps on chanting for materialistic desires, but does not attain the love of God because he doesn't intend to, and then he's still living in danger, because by such chanting he'll become more and more materialistic. I mean, his desires are being fulfilled. Eventually, because he's still within the modes of the three modes of nature, he's liable to commit sinful activities. And at some point, out of some madness, he may commit sinful activities. And in such a condition, the holy name will become the cause of his fall down. The very chanting of the holy name, in whose strength he commits sinful reactions, will become the cause of his destruction. So one should not take the holy name lightly. Bible also says that, thou shalt not take the name of thy Lord in vain. So don't do it for, nonsense purposes. Krishna's name should be only chanted to attain Krishna. So those who are in ignorance, they may chant the names of Krishna and become free from sinful reactions. But if by some good fortune they do come across a bona fide spiritual master, then they must take shelter of the holy name and make holy name the destination of their lives. Yeah. Text 15. Patitah skalito bhagna sandashta stapta ahata harir itya aveshana uman narhati yatana. Yes, please. Yeah, yes, please.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada Ji ki jai.
Jai.
If one chants the holy name of Hari and then dies because of an accident misfortune, such as falling from the top of a house, slipping and suffering broken bones while traveling on the road, being bitten by a serpent, being afflicted with pain and high fever, or being injured by a weapon, one is immediately absolved from having to enter hellish planet even though he is sinful. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 8.6, Yam Yam Vapi Smaran Bhavam Tyajate Ante Kalevaram Tam Tam Evati Kanteya Sada Tad Bhava Bhavita. When whatever state of being one remembers, when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fail. If one practices chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, he is naturally expected to chant Hare Krishna when he meets with some accident. Even without such practice, however, if one somehow or other chants the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna, when he meets with an accident and dies, he will be saved from hellish life after death. Thank you, Ji. Hare Krishna, Lordji.
Hare Krishna. If one practices chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, he is naturally expected to chant Hare Krishna when he meets with some accident. See, think of it this way, you know, how are we chanting the holy name? We are trying to remember Krishna. That's the purpose of our chanting, remembering Krishna. So, what is the mood in which we remember Krishna? That's Dasya, you know, Jivera Swarup Hoye Krishnera Nitya Das. That's the mood in which we are chanting. So, naturally, what does a Das do? Das takes shelter of his master. The servant or is always is always under the shelter of his master. So the devotee, when he's chanting Hare Krishna, he's taking shelter of Krishna. So naturally, falling from the roof of a house, from the top of a house, slipping and suffering broken bones while traveling on the road, being bitten by a serpent, being afflicted with pain and high fever, or being injured by a weapon. So these are, adverse conditions. These are conditions in which one is suffering. So what does that mean? So what does one do? When a child is suffering, what does the child do? When a child is in pain or is in danger, who is the child calling out?
Mother,
Yes. So who does a devotee call out?
Krishna.
That's why we are chanting, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Cry out
We are
loud.
not chanting because, we are chanting, okay, like we chant mathematics or physics or something. We are chanting because we are trying to remember Krishna.
Mhm.
So in such a condition, in Bhagavatam also it is mentioned that if somehow, no, in Vishnu Puran, that if somehow by or the other, my devotee is incapacitated at the end of his life and is unable to remember me, I remember him.
Mhm.
So if a devotee is constantly chanting the name of Krishna, suppose a car skids and falls into a gorge, what will a person call out? He'll call out Krishna.
Mhm.
So in such a condition, just like Ajamil, the devotee will also be delivered. But of course, if the devotee is constantly chanting the holy names for the serving the Supreme Lord, he is definitely in a better position. So if he has some traces of material desires in his heart, he will attain a very elevated birth. As mentioned in the 6th chapter of Gita, he'll either take he'll either take birth in the home of very rich people or Brahmanas, or if he's very much elevated, then he'll take birth in a family which is of devotees only. So there, without even seeking, he will find Krishna.
Mhm.
And he will fulfill his material desires also, but he will complete his remaining devotional service and free himself completely from all material attachments.
Mhm.
That's why if you look at this specific verse also, yam yam vapi smaran bhavam, tyajyatante kalevaram. What is the previous verse, 8.5? Antakale cha mam eva smaran muktva kalevaram. Who quits his body remembering me, he attains to my nature. Yah prayati samadbhava, yati nastyatra sanshaya. There is no doubt in this. So one who quits his body remembering Krishna will certainly attain Krishna. One who quits his body remembering Krishna but still having some material desires will certainly attain a body where he will render devotional service, even though it may be a material body. Hare Krishna. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Ranotram.
Hare Krishna. Yes.
Prabhuji, somewhere in Bhagavatam, it is
Hmm.
written, even if at the time of death a devotee doesn't remember his service to the Lord doesn't forget him. So,
Yes.
so means how these two are different. Means like at the remembering
See,
at the time of death, and even if he forget his name.
so it's all right. You see, prana prayana samay kafavata pittau kantavarodhana vidhau smaranam kutaste. So Maharaj Kulshekhar is saying that. Maharaj Kulshekhar was practically lost in the thoughts of the Lord all the time. To even maintain the position of a king was difficult for him. He was so much absorbed in thoughts of the Lord. So he is saying that it will be difficult for me. It may be difficult for me to remember. So certainly for ordinary souls, it will be practically impossible to remember Krishna. I mean, we'll be
Mm.
lucky if we can even say ka from our mouth. It will be so
Mm.
difficult the time of death. So Krishna is not ungrateful. He remembers. That's why he's saying yam yam vapi smaran bhavam. So you maintain that devotional attitude to Krishna. At the time of death, if Krishna sees your qualification and he sees that it is sufficient, he'll just put this word in your mouth. I mean, he'll take you back. As Paramatma within the heart, he's seeing our condition.
Mm.
So we need not worry. but we have to be very sincere in our position. So Krishna will help us remember. Now, as regards this statement from Srimad Bhagavatam, we must understand that Srimad Bhagavatam is actually a compendium of all the Puranas. Like, for example, fifth canto that we finished was a compendium of Garuda Puran, fifth canto, last chapter. So you
Hare
see,
Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavad
Hare
Pranam,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Yes,
Prabhuji,
Prabhu.
that verse is in Varaha Purana, that yadyapi bata dosena na smarat mat bhakta aham smarami mat bhaktam nayami paramam gatim.
Yes.
If the devotee is not able to remember me due to any physical condition, health condition, so I will remember my devotees and I will take him to my ultimate abode.
See, point here is, it's not a mechanical activity. Who is remembering Krishna, who Krishna is remembering, it's not like that. It's what is our bhav. That's why we are using the word bhav, not vichar. We are not using the word shabda. We are using the word bhav. So if the attitude is only to serve Krishna, when we leave this body, we serve Krishna. In fact, the lecture which I shared today was actually talking about the same topic, if you would have listened to it. The last part of the lecture is only discussing this point. A devotee doesn't care, whether he lives rakhe bhi mare bhi jo ichha tuhar. So whatever is your wish, rakhe bhi mare bhi, because the devotee is dedicated to Krishna only. So it doesn't matter whether he has this body or some other body. So the time of death is very agitating because there is great pain in the body. 35,000 scorpion bites. So at that stage, it's very difficult to remember anything, spiritual or material. One is kind of like floating in the waves of pain. So it is difficult to
So,
remember.
Prabhuji, according to Bhagavad Gita, this young vapi smarana bhabam. Prabhuji, so that means if somebody has remembered the Lord entire his life, he has done the sadhana, and he has maintained Krishna consciousness from core of his heart. So nowadays, currently, like people are in ICU or in a very traumatic condition. So that means even if smarana bhava, it because we don't know a person is thinking what. Although it is in a medical condition, one cannot speak. But if somebody is practicing like smaranam of Krishna throughout his life, so definitely, although he may be whatever medical condition, he will surely remember Krishna only, Prabhu, right? Because that is the practice of mind, according to even we will see the psychological point and mental platform. Mind will think whatever he has practiced for his whole life.
See, no, this is a thing, which I really find very annoying. This is something I really find annoying. That people take bhakti to be some kind of exercise. Bhakti. We sing every morning, we sing Preme Bhakti Jaha Haite Avidya Vinasha Jate. But we can see that neither there is Prem Bhakti nor Avidya has gone anywhere. In fact, there is Avidya or Bhakti only. See, Bhakti is not a mechanical activity. It is not like remembering some equation in mathematics. Integral sine x dx equal to minus cos x plus c. It is not a function to be remembered. Bhakti is a whole attitude. Bhakti is a very feeling. Here we are saying yam yam vapi smaran bhavam. So it's a feeling. One may be in great pain, but one cannot say, oh, I was in so much pain that I forgot my mother. I was in so much pain I couldn't remember my husband. I couldn't remember my wife. No, that feeling is separate. One may be in pain, one may be looking at the injury or something, but that love, that feeling still exists. So if one has developed love for Krishna all through his life, then there is no question of forgetting Krishna at the time of death. I mean, death is the time when you are about to let go of everything. So at that time, if one has all through his life served Krishna, loved him, where is the question of forgetting Krishna? And where is the question of Krishna forgetting him? I mean, ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham. Krishna has said that already. So, tam tathaiva bhajamyaham. If you have loved Krishna, Krishna will love you. Simple as that. So, at that stage, why will Krishna leave you to the mercy of the elements? So, in case of like we may quote the example of Bharat Maharaj. He forgot the Lord, he remembered deer. But even in the body of a deer, he remembered the Lord. Even in the body of Jada Bharat, he was self-realized. So even though bodies may have appeared to change, but actually his consciousness was not. He remained liberated all through the bodily conditions. So his bhakti was not lost. Yes, his thoughts drove him into a situation which appeared unfavorable, but the condition itself was not unfavorable. His consciousness was sublime as ever. So that feeling we have to cultivate. If we try to remember the holy name all the time, we will definitely forget it. Because we try to remember the holy name, but we love our family. It should be the other way around. Our love is for our family, but for the holy name, we just have remembrance. And that is our problem.
I got identified with this point, Prabhuji, this last point you said. I myself identify with this.
Of course, Prabhu, all of us.
Like holy name, although we remember, but still we love our family or attached to our uh, whatever we love.
So you see, it's quite easy. But, it's very simple, but not easy.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So and that's the whole point, Krishna is the objective of our life. Family, society, nation, profession, all these are duties. Krishna is the objective. We put it the other way around. We make Krishna our duty and we make family our objective. And then we wonder why we are not progressing in bhakti. This nation, this Hindu, this India, all this is nonsense. These are just, okay, if you are an Indian and army calls you, then you have to do your duty. But if you worship India and then you remember Krishna, it's not going to happen. Krishna is
Yes.
the objective of our life. We are Krishna Bhaktas, we are Vaishnavas. Why are we called Vaishnavas? Because our very purpose of life is only attaining Vishnu or Krishna. So that we have to remember.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Sorry, go
Prabhuji, it is also said that at the end of life, your whole life flashes in front of your eyes. I mean, maybe that if you have done so much bhakti in your life, if that is also flashing in front of your eyes, that also may be helping you to remember.
He means then you should have done it with feelings, not as a duty, as a perfunctory duty. Mandir jana tha, chalo, Sunday feast, I went in the morning, 10 o'clock and 4 o'clock I'm back home. No, that kind of bhakti is not going to work. That will be just another activity. At the time of death, your feelings will count. If you have felt for Krishna, that's what you will think at the time of death also. So this kind of, we cannot cheat the system. Okay, I will log in 24 hours or just before death, I'll log 1 week of bhakti. Then I'll remember that. No, that will not work. So many times devotees also think, I'll go and pull the Jagannath Rath and then Jagannath will come and take me back to Godhead. Yes, he will do that, but not in this life, not in the next life, after 1 million lives. If we have gone deliberately, if we just want Jagannath to be in our heart and nobody else, then Jagannath will definitely come. If we are trying to cheat Jagannath, Jagannath will put us in a position, we'll be born right outside Jagannath Puri. And we'll see Jagannath every day, but we'll do all our nonsense. And there are people doing nonsense in Jagannath Puri also. Like I told you about Mayapur. So that kind of a birth is pious, but we have to work.
Why I'm saying this is because at death, like as Maharaj Kulashekar is also saying that, we are in so much of pain and our throat is choked and all that happens. So, it might not be possible, but the Lord is so kind that he flashes the whole life in front of you. I mean, sort of, so which can help you remember, if you're in so much of pain and with your own efforts, you're not able to do it.
Yeah, but we should try to cultivate love of Godhead. That's the whole point. We should not think, okay, I will hopefully remember the Lord. No, we may not remember the Lord at all. We may just remember our bead bag. We'll remember the word that we were chanting, but will not be able to remember the Lord. So we have to cultivate loving devotional service for the Lord. Then we'll remember that. Then that will become our feeling. So that bhav we have to cultivate.
Mm.
Mm.
Because
Okay.
how much? Like, look at the proportion of our devotional service, really. Say, in a 40-year life, we have started devotion at the age of, say, 30, 35. That too, 2 hours a day. There are 24 hours in one day. Out of 24 hours, like half the life we have spent in sleeping, or maybe at least say 1/3 of our life we have spent in sleeping. So
Mm.
8 hours per day, if we say 6 hours we are sleeping, let's say. So 6 into 26 into how many? 365 into 40. So those many hours we have slept. And we are chanting for 2 hours, reading for half an hour. So 2.5 into that. That is the proportion that we have done devotional service. Actually, we are not even chanted for 40 years, we just chanted for 5-6 years. So minuscule percentage of our life has gone into devotional service. So we will attain that kind of a birth. Okay, we'll be born in some rich family of Delhi who will take their car to Vrindavan every Sunday. And we'll go there, we'll dance with the gopis and come back. So you see, we don't want that kind of a situation. 24 hours, manasa deha geha jo kichu mora, arpilu tuya pade nanda kishora. So complete surrender. Okay, you take everything, my Lord. Everything is yours. I am yours. This body is yours. So just to briefly tell you this point that, Keshan Prabhu was discussing in the morning, that this was the point. He was saying that we dedicate our lives. The holy personalities, they are not too willing to live. They just want to die because we have to give up this body before we can attain Krishna. So they want to give up this body, but they do not pray for death, or they do not actually commit suicide because this body also belongs to Krishna. So they use this body in the service of the Lord. So even though this body is a sort of hindrance in attaining the Lord, this body must be maintained only for the service.
Mm.
So this body, if we completely surrender to Krishna, that this just belongs to you, we are only using it for your purpose, then definitely when this body is coming to an end, Krishna will also remember us. Okay, let us see which next body to give you. What is suitable for you? So acharyas, the great acharyas, they don't even want to leave the material world because they cannot do this service then in the spiritual world. I mean, who will be preached to in the spiritual world? Who can we deliver in the spiritual world? We cannot deliver the mercy of the Lord in the spiritual world. So then the saintly souls, they think it's better to stay here because here we can do this service to the Lord, which is dearest to the Lord, delivering souls from material conditions. So if one cultivates this kind of feeling, then one becomes completely fearless of death. Then death is actually something to look forward to. After that, we will see Krishna.
Mm. Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, at
Yes.
the time of death means a devotee who is fully surrendered. My opinion means if he his only thought will be, or only worry would be, that whatever be the future course of action, or whatever be the body he is getting or he not be getting, but his worry should be that I should remember the name of Krishna. That name I'll never forget. Means his prayers must be like that.
Yeah, so our prayers to the Lord should be that we should just be able to remember Him at all times. It doesn't matter. Actually, a pure devotee doesn't even ask for deliverance from material nature.
Yeah.
He doesn't even care whether there is death or there is life. Our prayer should be to only take service of the Lord. Ashlisya va padratam pinashtumam adrshanan marmhata karotua. Yatha tatha va vidhatulam pato mat prananathastu sadeva napara. Saeva napara. So whatever you do, we are dedicated to you. So in this life, we are serving Krishna. If next life Krishna decides to send us to hellish planet, we go there and we serve Krishna. If Krishna says, okay, you come back to Golok, we go there and serve Krishna. So that's how it is. Like Srila Prabhupada, in one of his conversations, he says, in my next birth, I'll go to the lower planets. So you see, willing to go to lower planets. So our objective should be only to serve Krishna, not to think whether we will be able to remember him or not. No, we just serve him all the time. Then there is no question of remembering him because our very existence becomes situated in Him. Then we are living in Him. So our death will also be with Him. After our death, He'll again put us in some other service, give us a more suitable body, a more suitable mind for serving Him, which could be material, which could be spiritual. But in that life, we'll hit the ground running. In that life, we'll be remembering Him right from the very beginning, like we see in this previous previous verse we had seen. You know, and those who are freed from duality of delusion engage themselves in my service with determination. So such a person, even in the 6th chapter, it is mentioned that such a person, yoga bhrashta, will immediately engage himself in devotional service in the next birth. So if we are pure devotees in this life, next life will hit the ground running. We'll immediately remember Him and will start preaching His glories. So that should be our objective. Not even the desire to remember Him at the end. The desire should be to just be of His use till the very end.
Desire to means that the remembrance should be there, whatever be, even if it is a hellish planet, the desire of that the name should be remembrance of Krishna.
The desire should be service of Krishna. Even
Okay.
Kamsa was remembering Krishna. Even Duryodhan remembered Krishna. But we should be
Yes.
serving Krishna. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The desire should be to get His service.
Right.
And naturally, when we are serving Him, there is no question of not remembering Him. If we live for Him only, where is the question of ever forgetting Him?
Right.
So
And
our
Prabhuji,
mind, our body, our intelligence. Yeah.
Can we say means the Ajamil calling the name, the only quality was the fear and complete surrender, because he at that time he just thought that only his son can protect him. So out of fear of the protection, there is only one quality in his calling the name, and because just one quality is in his chanting, he was delivered. So we can say the holy name is so potent, even out of 100%, even if 1% if we qualify, it will be delivered. Although it is not ideal, but it has that power.
Certainly. Holy name is like infinitely powerful. Nam akari bahudha nija sarva shaktis. So He's sarva shakti, all energies. Actually, holy name is absolute. Hari. Yes, any other questions or comments?
No, just a comment, Prabhuji. It seems very easy sentence to read. If one practices chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, he is naturally expected to chant Hare Krishna when he meets with some extent. Very easy sentence to understand. Very tough thing to do. Yes, it's a blessing given by Krishna, but at the same time, we need to look at the first sentence before comma. If one practices the chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and that might take so many of lives.
That takes many lives. See, we have to become, sansara vasana kabe shuddha habe man, kabe ham heri wo Shri Vrindavan. So what is Vrindavan? That's Krishna. So sansara vasana, when will this material desire end? Then we can think of Krishna. So so getting rid of this material desire. Actually, this is a point I was discussing with one devotee yesterday. That, if you see Prabhupada's books, you will see that 99% of Prabhupada's instructions are only about purification. Srila Prabhupada in his purports is not writing any glories of the Lord. He's not writing any wonderful leelas of the Lord. Nothing. He is just talking about purification. Whether it is Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam or even Chaitanya Charitamrita. The point is that if you are pure, you will see all these things yourself with your own eyes. But on the other hand, if you just artificially try to see them, you will become a Sahajiya. So Srila Prabhupada is emphasizing on purification. Become pure and you can play with the Lord. But if you remain impure, then you will always remain a Sahajiya only. You will not progress beyond that stage. Then all the activities of the Lord would be only your imagination. So this is the point, purification. So try to purify yourself as much as possible. Try to get rid of material conditionings, at least Rajogun, Tamogun. Then you can think of Krishna all the time.
True. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Awesome.
That was
Jai
amazing.
Krishna.
Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol. So we stop here today. Thank you. Someone else has a question? Okay. Okay then. So thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Prabhuji, thank you.
Ram Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Um,